another thing is my moves in fatherhood were instructed by my dad and what he said, like, which is that he always wished he was more present when he was a player. Because I was the firstborn, and, you know, I was born in the heyday of, like, crazy-ass Howie Long. That kind of instructed me, and, like, having a dad who played and all that stuff, I feel like it helped me, but it also, there were a lot of, like, impediments, too, like pressures, people doubting you, people doubting your accomplishments. Like, here you are driving a car as fast as you can and winning races, I'm sure, at certain points in your career, and there's still people side-eyeing you and hating on you. I don't want to assume that, but that's how it is in football. What was it like growing up with your dad as one of the biggest names in American sports?
It was frustrating sometimes. It was a double-edged sword. You know, it presented an immense amount of opportunities. It opened all kinds of doors for me. I was racing side by side with other drivers that I became friends with that didn't have a last name, didn't have a lineage, they were the beginning of the line, right, in terms of their race car driving history and their family. And so I understood that, you know, my way was easier. My path was easier because of my name and my dad, but people would be shocked to know the reality, how he was not really hands-on. Me and my dad never sat down, and he never set me down and said, hey, this is the way you drive this corner, or you can go faster if you try this. We never had those moments. And, you know, for whatever reason, I guess he felt like, yeah, damn, I can't explain it to him. He's got to go out there and do it. Just learn it, right? I don't think he was intentionally standoffish, or just, he certainly was occupied with his own career, but I don't think that his way was wrong. But I ran 159 races in the late model stock series, which is basically the kind of the beginner class or a beginner class in the early 90s. That was sort of my cutting my teeth. And he, as far as I know, never saw one race. You know, as far as I know, he was not on the property and watching me drive. There was always a race that he was at, or another thing that he was doing that kept him away. And so, you know, where you see a lot of these dads, they're there, they're present, they're watching, they're observing, they're part of the process, right? That wasn't the way it was for me. We had a really awkward relationship. We did not know how to communicate with each other without arguing. Every time that he came to me, I felt like that it was a finger in your face or in your chest going, you need to do this. You need to try, you need more initiative. You know, it was always pushing you to, like, you got to show more initiative. I wasn't there early enough. I wasn't where I was supposed to be all the time, you know, and my mind wasn't on what it was supposed to be on. That was the way it felt every time he'd come at me. I still loved it because he was Dale Earnhardt. Any interaction with him was great. But I remember the first trophy that I won, me and my buddies, we went down and raced at Myrtle Beach, and we won the race. The guy that was winning all the races down there was a regular, and his name was Robert Powell. He wasn't there that night for whatever reason. And so we win the race. We got the trophy. We're happy as hell. We came back home and we set it on top of the Lance Cracker machine in the corner of the shop. And when Dad walks in, I'm waiting on him to see that trophy. And he looks at it, and the first thing he says was I guess Robert wasn't there. And I was like, damn it, man.
My God, dude.
I know. I mean, literally, that's what he said. I guess Robert wasn't there. He already probably knew. Somebody probably already got in his ear and told him. And I'm like, shit, man. I mean, here I am winning my first race. I'm doing what you do. Like I just won my first race, and that's your profession. And I'm trying to make this happen. I'm trying to be a driver. And boy, it didn't matter. I didn't know how to get on his level. I didn't know how to impress him. In 1998, he put me in the Xfinity car to drive for him, this blue AC Delco number 3 car, and we won races and won the championship right out of the gate. It worked flawlessly. It was amazing. And right in that moment, it completely changed. Our relationship, we were on the same level. He wasn't intimidating to me anymore. It wasn't awkward anymore. You know, I spent most of my life going to my dad and just running through my brain trying to think of something to say. Every moment you're around him, like, what can I say that he would, what could I say that he would care about? What could I say that would make him notice me,
familiar.
right?
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
This sounds eerily familiar, my man.
Oh, God. Well, all that came to an end in 98 when I started winning in the Xfinity Series and won a championship. Then my dad started looking at me as a business, a prospect, a future. He's like, man, this might work out, man. You're going to fit right in, and then I became part of the conversations about the future, about the business, about the company. And then we started talking racing, it was crazy how it shifted so quickly.
At what age did you get the method to the madness, or do you think there was a method?
I don't think that Dad saw a whole lot of potential in me up until 98. Maybe around 97, he might have saw a couple little, glimpses of potential, but, I was lazy and occupied by other things and still trying to race. And I thought I was focused. I thought I was, dedicated to racing and making it work. But around 98, 99, we won 2 championships back to back in the Xfinity Series, and that's sort of the college level of NASCAR. So the next thing is the Cup Series, where Dad is at. And so when we started having conversations about going there and me going there and me driving for him, it really got serious. And then we announced this mega deal with Budweiser. At the time, it was the biggest sponsorship in the sport, and he was beaming. He was so proud of himself, everything. It all kind of started to make sense then, what was happening and what we could accomplish.
It's just incredible. It's like, it's such an intense relationship.
Yeah.
Like in football, I'm never going to have to play for my dad unless he became an owner or like a coach. I mean, he did coach our high school team.
In a way, we were kind of mercenaries for our dad.
No, dude, you don't
on the
overplay
football
that.
field.
No.
So,
like it's some fucking little giant
when my
situation.
younger brother moved to varsity, when my younger brother moved to varsity, he became the quarterback. And my younger brother, Howie Jr., he's about 5'11", $185. Like a little Johnny Manziel type with a mouth to match. Right. And I wasn't a football player. Chris was an All-American at the high school,
right?
But he was at University of Virginia now, so he was out of the picture.
Right.
I said, Dad, I want to play football, I think. And he said, Kyle, it's not for everybody. And he said, your brother Chris is different. I remember him saying that from a young age. Your brother Chris is different. He's wired differently. He said, you are so happy in baseball. I don't even know why you would even bring that up. And I said, no, Howie's going to be the quarterback. I want to play football. I'm going to switch schools to play with him. So I went over there to play. And similar to when you said you went to the B car and started winning all those races in the AC Delco, I remember the first time I put hands on somebody in football, and the look my dad gave me, I had never warranted that look from him before. And when he looked at me the first time like that, I said, oh, we're on to something here. Even if I'm not having fun.
So I get how you became so good at football.
I could drive this son of a bitch.
You were trying to impress Dad the whole time.
So when he's saying, I'm saving up things to say to him, I want to just get a reaction. Like, I can relate to that so much, and it makes so much sense to me.
But you know what? To be honest, he did a really good job of being like, he didn't want us to play football.
He kept it real.
I don't know if your dad wanted you to race, like, because of the inherent dangers, like in your sport and ours. Like, my dad tried to steer us away, but it was like once you were in it, he was going to be brutally honest.
Yeah, he said there's no half step. Like, there's no half step in here. Like, if you do this, there's one way to do it.
Yeah, you're all in. So that's funny as hell. Was your dad also a Redskins fan, or was there different?
No.
What was his team?
He liked Montana. He was more a fan of individuals, particularly if he met them. But also, he pulled against whoever was playing Washington. So
it's just the ultimate villain. Oh, yeah. He's like, you can't even have a fucking football team, bro. I decided I'm an Eagles fan.
I'll never forget in, I think, 84 when the Raiders beat Washington for the Super Bowl. We sit down to watch the game, and he knows. I mean, I'm all in on John Riggins and the Redskins, and so he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna pull for the Raiders." And boy, did they destroy Washington. When Theismann throws the pick six on the 9-yard line,
Yes.
I literally cried in that moment. And my dad's sitting right beside me clapping. And I was like, come on, man, this is so brutal. It was hard enough watching my team lose, then my dad's over here celebrating it.
Listen to the full podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other podcast streaming platforms. Wherever you want to get the podcast, you can get the podcast. Pretty simple. New episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Podcasts get pretty wild. This is real tame.